super well by going over like 80, 85, 90 SCVs. That's something he really do enjoy doing. So.
You're not kidding. He actually 3-0'd stats, and he also 2-0'd Showtime and Hellraiser at this event.
The group stage. Okay.
Incredibly impressive.
Anyhow, guys, we are getting right on into this game. This is the loser bracket finals here, and spawning in the bottom right, playing for Team Splice, it is TY.
And his opponent in the opposite corner with the blue probes. Also from South Korea, we have none other than Zest. All right, there's about one crazy Zest fan in the audience.
I mean, there's always one crazy Zest fan somewhere.
Always one.
Dude, I love the Zest fans on Twitter as well. You know, like those guys are really, really passionate. Let's say Zest flops out of the GSL or something, they'll be like, "Oh my God, why am I ever like cheering for this guy?" Because you know sometimes he can look really messy. But the thing is, the last few series of this guy, I've been super damn impressed with him. Like the way that he dismantled a laser. There was one game where he was 60 supply, I think it's like 120, 130, and he actually managed to come back from that kind of situation. So Zest has really been displaying some good, solid CVP. But when it comes to Terran, that's a whole nother beast. And TY, he's just a different beast entirely.
Yeah, he's so much different than like one of the opponents that Zest had to defeat to go there, which was Hero Marine a little bit earlier in the bracket. He was able to 3-0 him the second time they played, because they did have a best of 3 before, which was 2-1, super close. Next one was more refined Zest, maybe a little bit less jet lagged. It was way more comfortable in just the entire area in the game, which is like what he likes to do, which is like massive gateway units based compositions. He also switched it up a little bit by going for early storms. So he's got pretty much everything that a Protoss needs to go super deep into a tournament, and I think he has what it takes to beat TY. But it's going to be an interesting best of 5 nonetheless.
And Mappa was telling us something there, Funker.
Yeah.
No TY, Reaper. No Reaper. Reactor first, and then he's going to pump out units. So I think he scouted with an SCV at some point just to make sure that he wasn't actually going to die to anything. Oh,
No,
wow, totally.
Did not send out anything.
What a greedy boy.
That is super damn greedy. And to be able to get away with this, if he was against any sort of early aggression against that SCV, that command center, it'd be rough. That's why he's bringing down the SCV just to help. But he's probably got it mathed out so well that even if an Adept was to come across, he'd probably have the means to deal with it.
Now we do see a pylon going up in the bottom left-hand corner of the map. This may very well be an aggressive push here for a little while later. The Twilight Council is finishing up right now. He's going to proxy the Dark Shrine.
Oh.
Yeah. So he certainly is planning on being aggressive and at the very least starting off this lower bracket finals with a bang.
Yeah.
I tell you what, though, like a Terran that didn't scout me, and his plan is to go for a Dark Shrine. Like, that's incredibly wild. Now, TY is moving onto the map, and we do see that he's forcing out some Hellions, too. This looks like it's going to be destined to not only scout, but also deal a lot of damage.
Oh, yeah, that looks like the euthermal pressure from, I think, 2 days ago, where he was able to get a lot of probes going on with this kind of build. Like, you have those early Marines, and you have to respect those. They actually deal a tremendous amount of damage in the early game, and then the Hellions, they can roast out probes. So that now already one Adept is going down, and some probes should fall for now. It's only one, but the Marines are going to get closer and closer to the mineral line, gets the other Adept, and he's going to go out with a 4th probe, which is, you know, kind of decent, and even more Hellions are actually going to be run by to the main.
I'm a bit surprised that that's just one Hellion that showed up when he's been reacted them out, but I think there is a second Hellion going into the natural too, so TY already forcing the multitasking skills of Zest.
So the follow-up right now as well for TY is going to be a Cloaked Banshee. This should be unscouted so far.
Oh, wow. This is starting to deal some real damage here, boys.
Now, the Dark Shrine is done.
Yep. Did he actually whop in DTs? I don't think he did already. Yeah, it's going to be the 2 first ones. Oh my God, that Banshee is actually going to fly over here. And I don't know if he saw the blip.
I don't think you're going to look at that little, like...
He's got a wall-off, perfect wall-off.
It is a perfect wall-off, and the Warp Prism isn't yet on the field, so he can't just magically make those appear. But this depot, you see, he wants to repair that immediately, but he cannot. Is it going to finish, though? Is it going to finish in time?
Oh my God.
Is he going to get the repair? Wow.
Easy.
Keeps out the DTs. This is a big deal. And the Banshee goes unopposed.
That's just GG, I think, right there.
Yeah. TY's in great shape. Everything's working out well for him.
Cloak is done. We'll see if he can get more damage done with this Banshee, because he does have an observer on the field, or maybe it's gonna pop out in a few seconds. 7 probes already, and those DTs were so close to get into the natural, but now this is just like literally no damage inflicted on TY, as Zest is actually on 32 probes against 40 SCVs. This is just madness right now. Like, Like TY with this opening, really cute. Got a little bit lucky, I have to admit, but still like a really, really decent opponent opening.
I mean, is he lucky because his opponent chose to play super risky with the DTs? Who knows? But Zest, he now has a Warp Prism available, and he's denying quite a lot of mining here. But the Raven does... Oh!
Wow.
No. That is a loss that he can't afford at this point in time.
That's brutal. So he took a bit of a gamble, opened up with no scouting whatsoever, but figured, you know what, I'm just going to be safe against most things. Well, it's obviously a bit of a risk. It worked out just fine so far. He's in a really good economic situation right now.
He can't pick him up. He can't pick him up.
For you. No pickup for you, Zest.
Oh, man. He just killed 3 DTs within the space of like 30 seconds. That is absolutely not worth it. TY is just climbing further and further ahead. And Zest, you know, he has no means of taking a third base. He knows what kind of shape he is in, and it's terrible shape. So I wouldn't be surprised if we get like a little bit of a gateway explosion, no third being taken, and he just goes for a big all-in.
Yeah, the only thing that could happen to TY, I feel, is like if he wants to push and finish the game a little bit too fast and gets caught off guard by a lot of zealots, but we can already see, I think, a reactor on the factory. He actually scans the gateway explosion, so now TY would have to like turn off his brain to actually lose this game because he just doesn't want to be on the map. He's going to be probably just waiting for that attack, and if he can deflect it, then it's totally over.
Like the way that this game is going to go now, TY knows that his opponent has to make moves, and TY's just going to be like, okay. Yep. So as the defender, it's always way easier. So as long as he knows, like, and doesn't do anything crazy, he's just waiting for Zest to do something. That doesn't mean he's not necessarily going to move out, but he knows that something is coming his way.
I like your face when he scanned the main base perfectly and saw all the gateways, Ben.
Oh, I mean,
so impressed by the turn here.
It's one of those things as a Protoss as well, your gut just sinks. But this SCV, it sees the double Warp Prism here. Now, he could think that that's maybe a hallucination, but I don't think so. TY's paying a lot of respect to this.
Now, he does have a lot of units here ready to defend. Stimpack is just about to finish up as well. He gets a little ambitious, starts up Combat Shield as well as +1 infantry weapons. That's more like a long-term plan here in case he has to go for a counterattack as well.
Is he actually going to drop?
Is he actually going to push right now?
Okay,
TY is mental.
I'm really surprised by this. I think he might just bring like those medevacs back home. But look at this. This bunker's tanking so much. The tanks, the Widow mines, the bio. Where's the rest of his army as Warp Prism flies in now? But he's already lost everything. TY's holding magnificently. And Zest, GG's out.
That was
super clean.
Pretty much a perfect game from TY. And he wasn't punished for how greedy he was, but at the same time, considering it was a DT aggression that actually came right from the natural, he had that wall off, was able to just not take any damage, and then suddenly your greedy build is actually going to win you the game so easily.
So what do you think is like the real advantage of just skipping all scouting information? I mean, I understand that you don't want to go necessarily straight up into the Reaper, but even skipping out the SCV scout? You think that's worth it?
I think he had an entire build planned about, like, so the 4 Marines and the 2 Hellions, right?
Yeah.
That's going to be his scout at that point in the game. He actually pulled, like, so when let's say they have an Oracle, right, and like 2 Adepts, at least the 2 Hellions will keep the Oracles at home while you're trying to kill the probes. If you deal with the Marines, then the Oracle's not dealing with the Hellions. Like, it's one of those scout while damaging builds. The thing is, he also pulled down an SCV while making the CC when the 2 first Marines pop. So I think he had it timed down to a T that even if an Adept shows up, that 1 hit extra, that little bit of body blocking, even if the SCV dies, he has the SCV down there to finish the CC. So I think it was just a very clean, calculated build by TY. Yeah. And also, the natural's so open for when he goes over to the map. The 2 Hellions are always going to get in. Even if you try hold that with like a Stalker in the wall kind of thing, which some Protosses do, those 4 Marines and 2 Stalkers, 2 Hellions are going to deal with that.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, yeah, it was definitely a little greedy on TY's end, and maybe he does get like maybe blind countered by some kind of double gateway with like a proxy gateway on the map. But I think he made the call that Zest would not open with this and just like went straight for it, and having the wall off done like well, because I feel like when he pushes to the natural, he's like, where's your gas? Where's your guess? You only have 3 Adepts, like not that many probes. Like there's something missing. So I think like some alarm bells actually went off in TY's head.
I think one thing also people tend to forget about the Reaper is even if you scout across the map and you see that you're getting proxigated because the Nexus is late, just because you know it's happening doesn't mean you're necessarily going to stop it.
Oh, yeah, no, I meant the SCV. Because when you do scout it and you're like, okay, Nexus is delayed, you put the CC in your main, and then suddenly you're fine.
Yeah, I was just honing in on the point that even if you make the Reaper, like, it doesn't necessarily mean you're going to know everything, you know?
Definitely.
Like, that guy can play defensive against the probe initially and not get any scouting information at all. If you go across the map and you, like, bypass a Zealot, all of a sudden, it gets very, very crazy.
All right.
Alrighty, so here we go. Game number 2. The work is going to hand clap right there in the middle of the map, or at the very least on the side right here of the Terran.
And TY actually going for an SCV scout this game, so it's not one of those things where it's like, okay, this is the build that I'm always going to do, like, regardless. I think he's just going into the series, and he's going to show his opponent that he can immediately, just how he SCV scouts, or, you know, he will do stuff differently. It's a really good way to play a series.
Yeah, I like it. Like the
for
actual
it, yeah.
adaptation. He goes for the reactor again, but he does have that SCV scout early to just scout out for weird kind of proxy or a really aggressive play from Zest, because he could have been okay. He didn't scout me at all. I could have punished that. So maybe second game he does go for that punish, because if he doesn't scout again, then suddenly you get an easy win if you're Zest. So that adaptation from TY is actually quite magnificent. And I'm wondering if he goes for the Marine Alien timing that he went for before, or does he keep those Marines and maybe go for a stronger push with, like, you know, tanks and cyclones? Well, 1 cyclone, 2 tanks, like something that Clem used to do. I really do enjoy that build.
There's a lot of variation. Now, this probe's getting quite a bit of scouting information. You know, there's no proc or there's no factory on the map. He might be like, of course there's not going to be. I mean, it's just nice to get that confirmation. So he did take damage from a build that looked just like this in the game before. Now, this probe does say it's 2 Marines, not anything dodgy, not anything weird, but it is weird by TY, by the way. Only produced 1 Marine off the react. Okay, now 2, so that might have been just a little error. I thought he was going to try and do something totally different, but so far, it's just one of those openings where you can threaten. Like, the Protoss definitely has to respect this a little bit. And 2 gateways before any tech goes down. He's truly respecting it.
Oh, yeah.
So do you think he is assuming right now it's going to be that exact same opener then again?
Yeah, I think he's like, okay, I'm going to shut this down really hard. And the thing is, I won't be surprised if, just makes it. So
mixes it up, yeah.
He's showing him exactly the same thing. And the thing is, these 3 gateways, what are you going to do with that? You have to
show 4 Marines? Okay.
You have to deal damage. And the thing is, there's no push coming across.
No.
If TY actually skips the Cyclone entirely, I would be so impressed with what he's doing, because that would be true mind gaming. Oh, it goes to the Cyclone.
Okay.
So
he does get the Cyclone.
He did put down a pylon here on the left-hand side of this engagement as well. So there's 3 gateways, and warp gates did just finish up. So he may decide to get a little bit aggressive. The Marines are actually kind of stuck right now here in that bush.
I'm getting scared for TY, actually.
Yeah.
This is quite a lot of his firepower, and by the looks of it, no bunker on the way. Yeah, and he made a Cyclone first, which means he's kind of worried about a Stargate or something like that.
Yeah.
There's none of that on the field.
Okay, 3 Stalkers are going to be whopped in aggressively. This is really cute what he's doing there on the behind the bushes, or the whatever it's called. But yeah, now the 6 Stalkers actually show up, and now for TY it's going to be quite tough. He doesn't want to lose that Cyclone. He's actually going to target 1 Stalker, gets a second one right away, instantly, and he's going to be able to actually lock onto another Stalker in a few seconds. This is pretty good, but he's not going to be able to take that one out.
Yeah, so 3 more Stalkers are going to join the engagement here as well. They're being warped in. Obviously, it's a very slow warp in at this point in the game, because there's no gateway touching. The bunker only just now comes up, and it feels like that is a little bit late.
Yep.
That is super late, Loco. That bunker's definitely not going to get up. He has a Viking to help out with ground damage, which is great. Actually, this is really nice. That Cyclone stays alive, which is a huge thing. Yeah, the Viking dies, but he needs to repair that Cyclone.
Second Cyclone on the high ground.
He went for a second Cyclone. That is meant, like, I really think a siege tank would have helped out so much, or a bunker at least. But now, if he can get us around on these Stalkers, or at least punish him for moving in so far, and he's doing it, he's getting a lot of damage, and the Cyclone stays alive too.
Super nice micro once again by TY, but he does. He forgets about that Cyclone and now gets punished for it. And now, well, I mean, it's already dealing a lot of damage. As you can see, 42 workers against 33, and that's pretty good, because we've got Twilight Council going up in the back for Zest. So he already has Blink Stalker being researched. So that's damage that's gonna pile up and pile up and pile up. And here's that siege tank that we were mentioning. The repair, the mass repair, is actually not going to save that Cyclone. And now you've got a free space as Zest to deal some damage to the CC and just pressure TY once again.
And look at this. He's having to play so careful against this army. He does focus the low health Stalker there, so does push it up back a bit. But you see behind all this, Zest now knows that the next stage of the game will happen. Throws down a 3rd base, a Robo, and he's also getting Blink. So he's not dead in his trails when it comes to tech.
Yeah, 11 Stalkers. Well, in terms of resources lost, TY is taking quite of a beating right now. And if what I've seen from TY recently in TVP actually confirms here is he's actually going to try to deal some counter damage across the map. Maybe load up those Marines and try to go for something crazy before Blink actually finishes. We'll see if he loads up a little bit more, actually tries to push across the map. Also, that Liberator is going to be about probably dealing some counter damage if the Blink Stalkers are on the map.
Zest is playing like TY has to play really scared right now because he doesn't know what's going on the other side of the map. He gets a scan on at the natural base, sees the gas is taken. I mean, it doesn't really give him that much information, but he's going to move out because he needs to get more. He needs to get more of it. He needs to know if that third base is up and running, how far along, what the tech of choice is for his Protoss opponent.
Alrighty, so here we do see that move out right now from TY. He's going to try and hit his opponent at multiple angles. Sometimes while they may be able to deal with the main engagement, the Liberator in the back can deal a lot of damage. Only 3 Marines right here, but I do like that observer positioning. It's going to be completely spotted.
This is one of those things, when I load up a medevac and I put 3 Marines in it, I'm like, that's useless, man. I need to fill it up all the way, but... Oh, wow.
It's just TY. TY does the most random things in the early game. I really love it.
But there's something else happening. So, like, this is all about trickery, all about showing, like, he's a puppet master, man.
Yeah.
He shows one hand and then he's doing something with the other.
Never fight in one angle, right? Always try and go for multiple engagements if possible. And even though these 3 Marines didn't really achieve a whole lot, that Liberator got 8 kills and it should be able to get out of there.
And man, if that was 8 Marines as well, that would have been 8 Marines and a medevac dead. This was just such a small investment. So, you know, he's changing it up entirely.
And he even pushed across the map with the tanks and Marines, and he was scouted by the Adept. So suddenly Zest is like, okay, I'm gonna get, you know, pressured from every angle. It was just like to posture himself and maybe, you know, like drag his attention somewhere else, and then suddenly the Liberator was able to get 8 worker kills. And considering how it started, 55 SCVs against 59 workers is quite amazing to see.
It is amazing, but we look at these upgrades coming online very soon, and I think one of the reasons that TY was able to cut so many corners infrastructure-wise and supply-wise is because those upgrades of his are only coming into fruition now, kind of thing. He starts the upgrades now. He's going to be very, very far ahead, and I feel that he has to play really, really scared going out onto the map because Zest is going to have control for the next few minutes.
So second robotics coming up here as well. With that robotics bay, he's going to be able to tech up here very, very nicely. I think it's going to be straight up Colossus.
Yeah. He did that yesterday. He did the yesterday against Hero Marine, but it was a really, really close game because obviously Hero Marine played a really different build and went for a heavy aggression early mid game, and he was about to die, Zest that is, before those Colossi actually showed up. So he's gonna go for the same strategy, and I think it's pretty potent on this map. You can pretty much camp on 3 bases and then you slowly take your 4th as he's doing right now, and you're gonna have a really, really strong composition that's gonna be able to handle that massive open area around the 4th base. Colossi are actually pretty good at that, so I think it's a really smart call to go for that on Thunderbird.
I'm glad we get to see a bit of a macro game right here, though. I feel like TY is one of those players who's extremely hard to beat in the long run, so I'm curious to see how Zest is going to how he's going to engage this.
TY is a tough one, you know, like often you can beat a Terran and it's like a little puppy, you know, like it just goes back in the corner. And TY does exactly that, but then he comes out with frickin' battle cruisers in a TVP and he can absolutely do that. He's getting armory upgrades, he's getting scans. He totally thinks, he's totally still in this game. And I'm just wondering, like, what's he really going to pop out with? And I want to see how he utilizes Liberators, because you can make the best or any Protoss in the world suffer. But with TY's hands, it's going to be rough.
Yeah. Probably best Liberator player ever, I think, in TVP, TY that is. He had like so many crazy long games, really, really, really long macro games. And he was pretty amazing at it. So he's going to go for that Liberator range, as you mentioned, pretty fast in this game. He does have a later 4th base, and Zest has those Colossi, but they're not going to be that helpful to fight against those Liberators. So
I'll tell you what, though,
I do have an opportunity.
I do like the fact that Zest starts his plus air upgrades as early as he does, before like his Stargates even finish. So that shows that he's willing to change and battle against Liberators, because if there's anything that destroys those, it's definitely Tempests. And look at this cage that he's had on him the whole time. Like, he knows he's been mining more, he's taking his 5th base behind this, his upgrades are still really damn good. And these trades, he's never losing a unit.
Yeah.
So neither player really looking to take an engagement right here. They're mostly just looking to get close to that maxed out state. I mean, they're testing the waters a little bit. A couple of Marines will get picked off here and there, but nothing all too serious. I would assume it's probably going to go this way until the Terran player decides to move down and grab that 4th base.
Yeah, that was smart by TY. He's actually going to get a Stalker there, just playing around that... Ooh, actually, Zest is pushing here with 3 Colossi, taking a lot of damage on those Stalkers. That's a little bit ambitious for me. I don't think that Zest can actually break that. He's trying to get those eBays, I believe. That's the reason that he wants to go for it, but...
That was a lot of bad trading, and behind all this too, even though he's just warped in 5 units and he's getting his 3-3 on the way, he had like 1,500 minerals while pushing up this ramp, and TY actually takes a really good trade. Because, like, yeah, you can trade out Zealots anytime you want kind of thing, but trading out those Stalkers, those are gas heavy. Look, he wants to go again as well.
Yeah, pushing up a ramp is just so difficult. The Stalkers, once again, full in range right there of those siege tanks in the back. Vikings getting some good shots off on these Colossi as well.
Those 2 tanks, they're actually shelling away at those Stalkers. That's pretty brutal.
No, he does.
He can't go up that ramp.
And
he's too dangerous.
The Evos. Or not the Evos, sorry, the
eBays.
He really does, but the thing is, does he realize this is ranged liberators right now? You can't break that.
Yeah, there's no way.
Like, okay, it's not the end of the world. He is on 5 bases, and he does have a better economy, but if you start giving TY an inch, he's going to take a mile.
All right, so it is going to be Disruptors right now together with Tempest right here from Zest. So obviously those are going to be some great choices here, especially obviously these Tempest, capable of picking up everything from a bit of a distance.
He still has been denying him a 4th, which is really cool. And the fact that he's been so willing to take a fight, even a bad one, I think that's just made TY kind of a bit nervous about moving out. Maybe he'd have done it a while ago if this wasn't the case.
What's interesting with the push-out that Zest did, even though he gave away a lot of units and really expensive ones, as you mentioned, because, yeah, Stalkers, like, we always see 40 of them, so we're like, oh, it's pretty cheap, right? And then you look at the price of the unit, you're like, okay, this is not the case. But what it did achieve, which is pretty interesting for Zest, is the Viking production to just hold on, which means no Liberators that actually went across the map. And it's building so much time for Zest to actually get that Tempest composition, and then suddenly your Liberators with range that were pretty great at pushing away and maybe denying some mineral lines, it's not happening at all right now.
Oh, and you show it in the scan while he scans you. It's like, you know, those warriors where they sacrifice whoever. This is what Zest is doing right now.
Got to get more Tempest out, and they are obviously the critical unit at this point in the game. They're going to be very helpful when it comes to picking up those ranged Liberators. Here we go. 1 Disruptable. 1 Marauder in particular, apparently, was split off from the rest. Screw that guy.
I'm very curious how TY what his endgame plan is against this, because the whole game I've been looking for like timings where he can kind of get back into the game, but he's just avoided all of them. He has a late game plan in mind, which if it does just rely on Liberator Viking, I'm not sure how well it's going to go for him.
Yeah, it's always the case when you're seeing a game like this, like 12 minutes in, you're like, okay, what's the Terran's win condition? Like, how do you actually cross the map and finish that Protoss off? And it feels like right now he doesn't really have the key. He does have some bio with 2-2 upgrades, which is nice, but it's not going to do well in a frontal fight against what Zest has. And problematically, I mean, those Tempests, they are out, and those Liberators, they're not going to do that much. So we see a lot of Ghost Academy. So we see Cloak as well, so he's probably going to try a nuke. But then, what's your actual unit that you're going to push with? Maybe battle cruisers at some point?
He's been playing very safe as well, right? Just not going for any drop play. Finally, right now, trying to move out on the map a little bit again. So he grabs the Watchtower right there in the top right-hand corner. He's got some Marines, Marauders, and Medevacs moving around. But like you were saying, it's going to be nukes that will be the name of the game right here for TY. Curious to see, though, if he's going to be able to get much done with those, because first off, the Ghost need to get across.
If I didn't know better and I was looking at that production tab and I just saw that Terran line, I'd be like, is he playing a TVZ? Because this absolutely is not a TVP that I'm used to watching. Nukes on the way from 3 Ghost Academies. The game's going to get real crazy pretty soon, and this is just all the build-up to that moment.
And we also have Blink DT in the production tab, and I do think they are really really useful on that map, because you can actually blink from this side to the third base over the minerals, which is kind of nice. So you can like pretty much always harass. Well, the minerals have been taken down, so it's not even an issue. But now those Tempests, what are you supposed to do against them? I mean, you do have some Vikings, but there's a lot of Stalkers to actually defend for it. So that base is just a no-go. He can't take it right now.
Yeah, he's trying to go up to 5 bases, which is extremely difficult to pull off. Obviously using those oracles to tag the units and then the Tempest to pick them up from a distance. In the meantime, though, a couple of these Medevacs unloaded their units and killed a base.
Oh, like TY supply block right now, and yeah, he's getting some damage done at the bottom of the map. He does cancel a base, but the thing is, taking out this army, he kind of needs a position where the Stalkers can't go, but the Vikings can, while still hitting the Tempest, but it's so difficult to do.
Let's see those EMPs maybe. That Disruptor is going to get taken out before that ball actually explodes. and the rest of those Marines and Marauders actually made their way to the third base. How did that happen? Maybe he's gonna get the Nexus. Stalkers are gonna fall down pretty easily. Scan reveals the DTs as they show up, and now EMP's on top of those disruptors, and he has to go back for a bit.
Yeah, Protoss during all of that was maxed out, so he couldn't warp in that many units defensively, and that means that these Marines and Marauders can deal a lot of damage. They now lift it up and go towards the main base. In the meantime, though, the Tempests are doing a lot of damage.
The thing is, Zest is trading so efficiently, and like, he would warp him more if he could, but the thing is, he can't. He's so rich, and he is capped out in supply, but he is bullying TY. He's so rich behind this. The nukes do start, but TY is just trying to keep Zest away from him, and he can't do it.
Okay, for some reason, the fourth base isn't dead right now. The nuke is gonna fall on those cannons, taking out 3 of them, which is kind of decent for that nuke, and actually push the army away. Maybe Zest was afraid that the nuke was defensive around that fourth base, so he didn't want to take any risks, so he went back. So that fourth base still mining for TI, which is kind of amazing, but we still have the same issue. How do you siege those Liberators to take down the Stalkers? He's actually going to be on the move, Zest, that is, always, all the time. So I don't see how he's supposed to take a fight, TY.
Yeah, he's once again trying to secure that 6th base while this engagement is going on, but it looks like Tempests are indeed sniffing it out as they move towards that 6th base location. Stalkers blink in that direction, and that orbital command is as good as dead. And this is the problem, right? He's gonna run out of money.
Yep. It's really hard taking a 5th base on this map in TVP. So he's actually going to go for the one on the bottom side, which I like a little bit more. But that means also that your 3rd base, which is in a way your production, ooh, Disruptor almost taking out 4 ghosts. Actually, you went just for 1. But that's the thing, if you leave it open, if you don't leave any units on the top side, then suddenly your entire base is actually free.
TY actually hasn't made a supply depot for the past, like, 30, 40 seconds, and he's been stuck at 171 supply. So as much as I make fun for Zest macro, TY's been screwing up here, and I think it's just the amount of pressure that Zest is putting on him. He actually blinks into the PF. He's feeling extremely confident. There's a lot of TYs. It's a chance that he was hoping for. 6 splits against the Disruptors as well.
And the Planetary actually lives during all of that as well at like 5 hit
What?
points. The Disruptors are trying to do as much as possible. Big warping right here from the Warp Prism as well, but is it going to be enough? Dude, he's actually... Okay.
Yeah, it's going to be enough. Zest ties it up. GG. 1-1 in that best of 5. Pretty well played by Zest, like really his own style. That's where what's really interesting to me is that there's been so much talk about the Zealot, you know? How many Zealots did we see? He actually killed them, right? Like he killed them on his own. He went for massive Stalker blink, Tempest composition, super early +1 on the air attack. I mean, it was just a brilliant game by Zest, but as we said, Ben, like, we just couldn't see what the end game was for TY. It was just trying to survive, but surviving in this game doesn't really help you.
Like we liked that he opened up the same way, right? And then he was doing something completely different. And the thing is, I felt like he did this bait to Zest, like, hey, look, I'm doing the same thing. You're going to over-defend, right? And Zest was just like, no, I'm going to attack you then. And he absolutely wasn't prepared. The fact that a bunker wasn't up and he went for a 2nd Cyclone against a 3 gateway build. I mean, if you have 1 tank out and you put it on that high ground, you're not going to take damage from that. If you have a bunker, you're also going to be in way better shape, but he had neither. So I felt it was kind of one of those bluffs where you don't, like, when your opponent makes the prediction, you still lose. It felt really, really off, actually.
Yeah, and then TY's win condition, I guess, in the mid-game was to try and hope that Protoss overextends, which is not really going to happen very often against someone of the caliber of Zest, who just kept on pushing, never allowed that 5th base, and you realize, wait a second, if you go into the late game, your main is going to run out, your natural is going to run out, the 3rd is going to run low, you're going to have to move somewhere, and I'll just pick off the 5th whenever I can.
And it definitely feels like TY's the guy using these kind of unorthodox builds as well. The fact that he's skipping a Reaper entirely, that's not something I see in this matchup. And that's making him... The Reaper's so good for a lot of reasons, and because of that, he's having to skip a lot of the fundamental things, like what tech am I up against? Going for the double Cyclone there, because he didn't know if it was an Oracle, didn't know if it was like Stargate, just had no idea. I kind of hope he resorts to something a bit normal, but he's no plan of it, no plan of it.
Cheeky SCV, if I know one, Ben.
But he can play a damn good proxy funker.
Oh yeah. Okay, on the bottom right-hand side, it's Zest in the as the blue Protoss, and top left, it's going to be TY representing Splice. So it's 1-1 right now, and he's going to go for that proxy barracks, probably Reapers, and we'll see if that probe actually goes that way. Nope, doesn't look like it, but it will it will
find
scout the lack of barracks in the main base, so that's
Yeah.
already enough.
That's enough information. Then you keep the probe over there to see if the factory is then produced in the main. Because if it's not, then you know this is balls to the wall, crazy from the Terran. But if you see that factory land, you know it's just a proxy Reaper, maybe 2, possibly 3, but usually not a super all-in.
Now, the winner of this best-of-5 series is going to face off against Cerro in the grand finals of this event. Either way, if it's going to be a ZVP or a ZVT, it should be a really, really good one. Obviously, the best-of-5 earlier between TY and Cerro was already amazing.
Yep.
And we'll see where this series is going to take us.
Yeah, and Cyril could go for the back-to-back victories here at HomeStory.
I can't believe he forgot bringing home his trophy last time. Like his previous trophy.
He didn't bring it home?
No, so he forgot bringing his trophy from the previous HomeStory Cup. So I guess he's going to have to potentially pack 2 in his luggage this time.
Yeah, he's going to pay extra in the flight.
I think it's just a nice excuse. His cabinet's full, mate. He can't
that's the
he can't freaking fill him in his house anymore, you know?
Do I really need that? I mean, I know I'm good, you know. I don't need those trophies to remind me. That's pretty great. Oh, it's actually going to be a Marauder.
Okay.
But no concussive.
No. Okay.
Okay, it's starting right now.
This is unusual already, and it's just 1 barracks, yeah?
Mm-hmm.
So 1 aggressive barracks. The factory is at home, so when I talked about that probe's there, now he thinks like, oh, it's going to be something fine and dandy, like I'm going to hold this off, but the fact that no Reapers showed up yet, Zest he went to the edge, he's like, well, where is this bugger? Like, what is actually going to come? And the thing is, it's TY. You don't know what's going to come at you.
Yeah, that's pretty confusing. If you look at it from a Zest perspective, it's like, what the hell is happening? I know you've got a barracks on the field because you do have a factory. So that's about it. But now, oh, that's pretty cute. Actually going to push that factory away so it can make a reactor.
Is that second SCV just there to soak damage?
Yeah.
Okay.
Definitely. Maybe
So damage
put down
and
a
scout.
bunker. Yeah.
And also, if you get to the high ground, you want to put down an engineering bay just for vision.
Oh, nice micro from Zest actually targeting that Marauder.
Oh,
that
he
was
took a
quite
second one
low
as well.
HP. How did it go so well for Zest?
Yeah, he never
How?
targeted that Zealot. So the Zealot has just been slicing and dicing away at all of those Marauders for a little while. This is just completely countered.
Yep.
Shield battery coming up right now as well. As soon as that one finishes, this aggression is done. I mean, it's done right now.
That's a pretty terrible opening now for I really enjoyed it before it actually happened. I mean, 2 Stalkers, 1 Zealot against 3 Marauder with a concussive shell. It's like, yeah, I think I can take that out, you know?
You know, I have one of my mates that was like, hey, Ben, have you seen the new Marauder build? And I was like, oh, what build? And he's like, oh, Gumiho's about to do it now, Ben. And I'm like, okay. I go tune into GSL right there and then, right? And it's like, I see him. And he just loses instantly with it. I'm like, yeah, I'm never doing that build again. It always works out like that for me as well. And just like this, I don't even feel the Protoss really had to go off key or scout anything too crazy. It was just like those Marauders showed up and got murdered. Even the shield battery started super late, you know, like you didn't even need it.
Yeah, that Zealot just did so much work. So right now he's also confirming, okay, there's no more barracks over here. The barracks is gone. The aggression has been shut down. And Zest apparently decides now to go back towards his good old Blink Stalker.
I mean, I remember a pretty nice Terran player that actually streams on Twitch TV. His name is The Muslim, and he says that when you're facing something unconventional, just go for your usual build because it does defend most things because it's a standard build. So that's an amazing fact that Zest actually goes for Blink Stalkers and a Robo.
Why, thank you, Funker.
Doesn't need anything else.
Now I know you do listen to me every now and then.
I actually do.
Oh, 4 Hellions do get into the natural base, though, and that's a lot of probes going down, and without a third on the way either. Look at the worker count. It's equalized entirely, and when the Terran is ahead like that on the worker count, especially since... in fact, is that a third orbital that he's made? No, is it?
That's
just his natural finishing?
One, yeah.
Okay, so obviously his natural was way earlier there, or rather, way later. But that Banshee, now the Liberator after the first Banshee as well, he's just going to be throwing everything he can.
I'm wondering what Zest would have thought of what would happen with that reactor factory, because he did see it, right? Like he blocked it with a pylon. He's like, okay, he's got a reactor on a factory. What do you do with a reactor factory? Either mines or Hellions. And he was not prepared at all for that round by.
No, absolutely not. Like, there was no wall in place, like no stalkers blocking.
Yeah.
That's one of the easy ways to deal with it. I mean, that does make it more vulnerable against a tank push, but we have Blink Stalkers showing up, and this Banshee stayed behind at home as well.
So a siege tank is just about to finish up. Until that unit is out, it's going to be very difficult to do anything against these Stalkers.
Ooh, vision for the high ground with that sentry.
Hallucinated Phoenix. It's going to come online soon. Does he siege the tank right there in the main? He needs to do that, but maybe a little bit, further up. That's pretty nice. It's going to defend most of the things. Maybe that CC is going to be in trouble a little bit, but it's not going to be insta GG, you know, like you're not in position, then suddenly Zest with an amazing macro, able to kill off your tank, and then it's GG, it's lights out. It's not going to happen there. That Banshee hiding out on the cloak, right? He does have cloak.
Yeah.
Oh no, he cancelled it actually.
He cancelled it. Okay, sorry, I didn't see it.
So the Liberator actually is moving across the map right now. That could actually deal quite a bit of damage.
He'll also get a decent scout, hopefully, on the third base, so he knows what kind of situation Zest is in economically after the Hellion harass.
Yeah, small commitment there by Zest. Just simply decides to blink away once again. Doesn't see the third Nexus, though.
Yeah, he has 2 Nexus.
Wow.
Nexus is 2 actually scout.
Wow.
Because
That
he goes
is
for a
so
super aggressive 4th base.
Ooh, I like that, though. I mean, right now, he's like, okay, well, I guess I'm going to have to go for my 3rd command center myself. And, well, he already has that one, obviously. Morphing into an orbital command right now, but he's likely going to play a little bit more defensively, knowing that everything is A-okay. And then he's actually going to go up against 4 Nexi.
Wait, what's his tech at? Like, what's Zest got? So he's got a Robo, a Twilight.
No charge, right? Does he have charge?
I have.
No.
Like, this is really weird. Like, that he's going for a 4th Nexus build before any real, like, dedication to any super tech. Super strange. It's almost as if he's hoping TY scouts this and then he runs into him doing an all-in against him. But, okay, now he starts double forge. Okay, now it's beginning to make a little bit more sense. But this is so delayed.
You know what it reminds me of? Like, back then when you used to do like double Rax proxy against Zerg and you get defended and then suddenly the Zerg is actually going to go 3 bases, 70 drones, because that's the thing, right? Like you can't really do that much with Bio if you don't have Stim. So he's going to go for it anyways because it's got that Raven to complement the push, and now tanks are actually kind of decent against Stalkers, so he can still make a play happen, but he's not really supposed to push and finish the game right away. So that 4th base maybe is going to pay out.
I was about to say something as well, like this, we don't know how much these guys play against one another, right?
Oh, yeah.
Let's say Zest knows his opponent super damn well and he knows he'll never attack him, he'll just sit back.
Yeah.
Then this 4th base Nexus being when it was is like freaking 200 IQ play.
So he's actually pushing with like a couple Stalkers on the left-hand side and then also through the center. Oh,
That's like the worst scan ever.
He doesn't see that. Well, he could have seen the mineral patches mine, I suppose, but...
Have they been mine, though?
So the Immortal was rallied down the ramp. That's one little thing you might be able to pick up on. I mean, the Immortal normally wouldn't be rallied down the ramp, so maybe he's got a bit of a scout there, but...
If we check TY's vision, though, that could just mean that the Protoss is out on the map against him, because that isn't a lot of vision. Then you have to be a little bit careful.
Yeah, that's typical Zest, right? Like having those Stalkers on the map. He's not the kind of guy that's just gonna sit down on his
But it's like
natural.
preventing Terran from moving out there.
Yeah. I mean, Zest has been playing like this against Hero Marine yesterday, and he did wonders. So I'm liking Zest's position, and for now, he's not being punished for that 4th base. And now, even the shield battery is actually going to help out tremendously against that Banshee. Only 1 kill, the Liberator is going to get activated, but look at this. Super great reaction time by Zest. Only 1 probe going down, full scouts.
20 workers ahead.
And it's like TY scouts it, and he's like, yeah.
All right, so it comes
I'm in a
down
pretty
to this
rough
push,
spot.
right? So he played extremely greedy. If he can hold on to this push, he's going to be in a wonderful spot.
Oh, yeah.
But can he? Like that, while he's 20 workers ahead, he's also 30 army supply behind. And TY's upgrades are coming online now. And those forges were so darn late. It's all well and good if you have 4 bases running, but if you've got no upgrades against the bio army, this is so good, though. He's trying to slow down the Terran so
He's
much.
buying so much time, and he doesn't even lose the Stalkers. That's pretty great, but that's still a pretty decent army from TY.
He has to go, though.
Is there any splash damage at all?
No, it's not. It's a brute force army.
Okay, 2 Archons coming in, pulling the boys. Pulling the boys.
He knows what he's dealing with. This, the High Templar. I don't know what
to go for the feedback on Medivacs, I'm pretty sure, to start up the fight.
On the Raven, obviously.
Yeah, on the Raven.
But the Raven is still there.
And now the missile is actually going to connect with most of the army, and the SCVs are actually going to be there to tank for the bio army. And look at this. Zest, you've been a greedy boy, and now what are you going to do against all those bad boys? Coming out to your natural base, he's actually going to try and hold on with those zealots, but I think there's just too much. TY is actually not sieging his tanks for now.
No, I mean, they were better off against the anti-armor missiles, doing as much damage as they can. Now they're sieged up, though. He's on the 3rd base. The Stalkers, they can't compete with this bio army. TY is just massacring Zest. Zest is having to run away from his own base.
Yeah, this is not a scenario you want to be in when you're Zesty. Try to play extremely greedy, try to keep the Protoss player, or rather the Terran player, pinned back using those Stalkers, but It is just a little bit too much. TY sniffed it out. He realized what's going on. He pulled the boys.
He pulled the boys and he gets the victory. GG. TY leads the series 2-1.
I don't know
Great
when
scout
or
there.
I don't know when or how he sniffed out that fourth
Wow.
base or what kind of situation that Zest was in, but he scouted the natural with the Banshee, tried to do a bit of damage. He scouted the third with the Liberator. He's like, mate, this is just Stalkers without upgrades. And he was like, you know what, we're going. We have to go now. My +1/+1 is online. I'm going to pull the boys as well. And he just marched all over Zest. Zest tried to play way too greedy. And those upgrades, like, he had to play so passive as well until they came online.
Yeah, it's a little bit weird that he didn't go for the forges a little bit earlier because I can see it like playing super greedy, but at the same time just going for those forges a little bit earlier so you can get that 1-1. That makes a tremendous difference when you have stalkers, zealots, and immortals. I mean, those upgrades change a lot. Those zealots are gonna tank so much. Even stalkers are actually gonna be super good at tanking marines. But then amazing Raven missile. Got pretty lucky on the Templar being scouted out. Taken out before he could fit back the Raven. Just in general, it was a pretty good game by TY, and Zest was just going like super YOLO into the greedy kind of aspect of things, but he was just, caught with his pants down.
That was not a normal Protoss response to anything that TUI was doing. You know, the 4 Nexus before your tech is really online. Yeah, you have the Robo facility, you have the Twilight Council, but a lot of weird stuff. You know, you can play against Roddy on the ladder. You can bet your bottom dollar he's got triple Robo in production, you know? Like, there's a lot missing from Zest's plan there, and TY just didn't bite. He didn't hook onto any of these mind games that Zest was showing, and he just went for it. Beautiful play.
I'm curious to see if he's going to ever go for like a Reaper this series. Isn't that crazy? He hasn't made a Reaper a single time yet.
It is. Like, that game is off the back of that Marauder rush, not really doing anything at all. And
Like the best scouting unit in the game, and you don't make it?
I don't know, a Speed Overlord's pretty good, or a Speed Overseer, you know, like those bad boys.
What about observers? I think observers are actually cloaked all the time, which is kind of nice for a scouting unit.
Yeah.
Have you heard about the creep tumor?
Creep
tumor is pretty good, you know? Like you click on
I believe
C
I'm
and you
sitting on the
actually-
couch with 2 Terran players.
Yes, you are. Yes, you are.
I gave you some ladder points the other day. Okay?
Yes, you
Don't
did.
be- don't be
Actually,
too-
apparently you messed up and forgot bailing speed, which is the reason my timing actually worked.
It's okay. I got a little tilted.
Oh yeah, I'm loving it. I'm loving it. I get tilted by Zerg players on a daily basis, you know, so I give it a little bit back to you.
So here we go. Game number 4 between these 2 titans of the sport spawning here. In the top left-hand corner, playing with the red Terran SCVs from South Korea, we have TY. Easily one of the best Terran players in the world. I mean, if you talk about the best Terrans, it's like Maru, Innovation, and then I think TY. Right?
Well, he might even be better than Innovation at the moment. It depends. Like he's just a different kind of player. That's the really interesting thing to me is that Innovation and TY are just like complete opposites, right?
Like determines the meta for like a year from now.
Yeah, exactly.
He comes up with a lot of really cool things.
Why are you looking at me like this?
I was liking everything you were saying, Funker. It's like, you know, when you study replays and you're trying to get better, it's like, who do you look at? And you look at all 3 of them for very different things. You know, people will often say like, oh, look at Gumiho. It's like, no. If you want to learn, you look at Innovation, Maru, and TY, and you go down the list, right? You're like, man, I'm trying to copy TY. It's too many mind games. Yeah, his micros awesome, his macros awesome, but Maru is about loads of mind games where he's tricking his opponent. Innovation, he's actually the easiest one to copy or try and mimic because it's a very, very methodical plan. It's like the
generic
the
kind
standard Terran. TY, you try and copy him, mate, you try and multitask like him or do some of the crazy stuff like going to late game when he chooses to. It's just ridiculously difficult.
Hey, should we, before we continue onwards, right? I don't mean to cut you off, but should we introduce the Protoss?
Oh, absolutely. Spawning in the bottom right as Absolute Protoss. It is Zest.
There we go.
It's like
Mapu was waiting, man. Mapu was hovering over the base, and that guy. So are you gonna?
So you're not introducing, and then you're introducing, and then you're going back to the Terran, and now you're not doing the Protoss players. Like, what are you doing to me?
We were fanboying. We were fanboying over these Terrans. You know, I spent so many years watching this dude just like. And also, when you have Special, that's the biggest TY fanboy, and he's one of the absolute best foreign Terrans, he always tells us, watch out for this guy, he's a genius.
Yeah,
it was just a 3-minute introduction, that's all it was.
He is
for TY.
A freaking genius. Like, I really do love how TY plays in general.
The genius
Terran.
Huh? The genius Terran?
The genius Terran. I mean, TY. I mean, I've been following this guy ever since Brood War. He was baby, you know? He was that cheeky
dude,
guy.
that's the sickest story as well, right? Didn't he get hired like on We Made Fox?
Yes.
Or like 11 years old?
Exactly. He played his first televised match at 12.
Yeah, get this straight, guys. He got into a pro gaming team at age 11.
Yeah.
What do you do at age 11?
I mean,
Oh, remember, I was pretty-
you
that's
move into the
crazy.
We Made Fox gaming house and practice with Nada. Like, oh my
That's
God, what's going
crazy.
on?
You're kidding me.
I was pretty into Pokemon cards, I think, when I was 11 or something.
Yes.
No, actually,
You're
I started...
playing with marbles, you know, like.
No, I started playing Brood War when I was 11, actually. So it was the year I started playing.
You went into Thunderbirds like Roddy?
I don't.
We talked about this.
No. I'm not getting trolled by the Thunderbirds again. Like I don't know who those things are. Like I have no idea. But yeah, TY just gives you hope that if you play smart, if you play cheeky, technical, you can always get stuff.
All right, someone in the chat said, I believe the Muslim went to Hogwarts at 11.
Absolutely,
That's true.
mate.
Yes.
Yeah, I know a Wingardium
wizard?
Leviosa.
Are you a wizard, Ben?
I'm absolutely a wizard, mate.
He's got his letter in the
with
mail.
Such a cheeky face. You should
Yeah,
watch
yeah.
him like as he says that.
He's making it sound ironic for the Muggles.
Actually, it was really weird going to school because I started secondary school when Harry started Hogwarts, and like all the kids in my class would be like, "Ooh!" It was so dumb. It was so dumb. I always felt a bit like Ron Weasley, honest.
Are you more of a Ron Weasley?
I think so.
I was Harry Potter.
Always being
all the
clumsy,
way.
you know.
Yeah, I see. Okay, that Reaper actually gonna scout a little bit and drag the Stalkers down as he tries to go for a Widow Mine drop with a Liberator and tank follow-up. I mean, those tanks, you just do it all the time in a TVP. Those are just too good, and especially against a guy like that. That was close. That was close.
Oh,
my God.
He walked it.
We saw it earlier on in the tournament as well. He got 11 kills against Showtime in Terran vs. Protoss as well.
Damn. That was just nonchalant. You know that mine? Just like, boop, 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 boop.
Yes.
I'm going to the mineral line of the natural base, my man.
This is okay. TY's been doing. He's got a formula here. How he plays this matchup. He distracts with one thing continuously, and that was the main brunt of it. But then one Widowmine sneaks into that natural. It's just so much trickery. He really plays the player
And
as
that's
opposed to just playing the race.
difficult though, right? Like now you're all of a sudden catching up to a Terran and work account. He's going for the third command center. And this is already a really great position right here for TY. I feel like TY is one of those players, if you're behind, good luck, right? Good luck trying to catch up.
I mean, if you're ahead, good luck trying to stay ahead. Like, that's the thing, right? Like, I mean, once again, it's just like that white Widow Mine drop, 2 Widow Mines in a Medivac is actually not the biggest threat. It's the Widow Mine that's walking to your natural, and that's crazy. I usually call him a tactical player more than a strategical one,
Right.
because that's what he does. Like, tactically just outplay you, right?
Do you remember that GSL versus the World or something before Serral got godlike? And it was like Kelazure versus TY on Whirlwind. And Kelazure proxy 2-raxed him, killed like every SCV. But then TY fought back for like 40 minutes in a TVT after losing it. Like, yeah, if even if he's behind against you, he can find a way to come back. It's insane.
Yeah.
But Zest is set up. So he has got a decent probe count. He isn't taken up super hard, and in fact, he just chooses to expand again. So he's already got a totally different take on PvT. Now, I don't know if this is just because he took a lot of damage, but we have a massive gateway explosion with this also.
Le gateway explosion, as Todd would say, obviously, and Roddy loves when Todd does that.
So he's actually going for a bit of a move out right now. I was going to say, is it just a fake out? I mean, he doesn't have stim pack, he doesn't have combat shield, he doesn't have +1. Guess it's just buying some time for this.
It's just like,
right
look
here,
at my army in the middle of
Yeah.
the map, and then boop.
And that's kind of the theme in this game so far, right? He's always hitting at
Always.
fronts, always.
I mean, it's the kind of game, like, if you see something on the mini-map, don't look at this one. Try to look for the other one. That's what he does. Like, that's something that people tend to forget when you see, like, quote-unquote bad mistakes by player, is that attention is a resource as well as the gas and minerals, right? Like, your attention and how many places you can look through in a minute or in a couple of seconds is really important. And there's something that you can't do is look at 4 different places at the same time. So it's like TY pushes you out. It's like, okay, he's pushing in. Does he have stim? Is it a dangerous attack? Should I defend my 4th base? And then boom, Liberator against 4 probes. That's what he does all the time. He did it with the Marine drop earlier in the previous game. It's just like, I think, a pain to play against him.
Like the third resource of Terran versus Protoss. Minerals, gas, and then attention. I like that.
Yeah, I think TVZ is the kind of the same thing, right? Like, if you're playing bio, you need to have a lot of attention to your main army, but at the same time, you got to look at different things. I mean, it's really important.
I am so confused with how Zest probes up, by the way. Like, he went up to 4 bases incredibly fast, but he hasn't really been making that many probes at all. And now he starts up a few. But the thing is, TY is getting such a lead here. He's actually 9 SCVs ahead. So even if you take a 4th Nexus super duper fast, and if you don't saturate it, you're going to be in trouble. By the way, this is the lowest tech army for a Protoss I've seen in a while.
Say, like, still no splash damage, right? And that's always a little bit risky. If you don't have any Colossi, you don't have any Psionic Storm.
This could be one of the grossest fights you've ever seen, depending on what happens with this anti-armor missile. TY starts up 2-2. He's got a bigger army. He's got a better economy. He is in the driver's seat here.
Yeah, that's going to be gross if they actually fight right now. I think it's going to be super tough for Zest to handle. And especially because he goes for Ghost super early, and I like that from TY because Ghost EMPs actually destroy Zealot armies, and it's really good. Like the Ghost actually deals a lot of damage to the Zealots, but also the EMP makes them like super weak, right?
Oh, Zest kind of wanting to catch TY a little off guard here. Is the Raven not with the army? Oh, okay, back at home. So TY retreats. Doesn't want to take a too early fight here, especially after seeing that kind of Zealot count chase him down.
All right, so he does decide to go back home here. The robotics bay is coming up. Triple robotics facility. What do you think about that, Ben?
Oh, I mean, I like that play. That was a huge Marine count that he's up against. He hasn't seen any kind of Liberators joining the army yet. He hasn't seen any kind of late game stuff that he has to truly worry about. And honestly, when it comes to, okay, what does the Terran make? Does it Ghosts or Vikings? No Vikings at all. He's gone for Ghosts, so it's actually the super right call for Zest here.
Oh, it's been scouted right away. Massive scan by TY. And I think that's going to trigger him to just cross the map. And that's another adaptation from Zest. He's like, okay, I've been scouted. Disruptors. I'm never going to have the time to get Colossi out. Especially without the range, it's going to be a little bit difficult to handle. 2 more Robos? It's not 5 Robos?
Wait, he's going 5 Robos?
He added two extra Robos.
Oh, that must be a mistake, right? There's no
way.
Yeah.
I don't know, man. Roddy's watching this. He's like, oh my God, this guy.
As well, though.
Yeah. Okay, the split pretty decent, but still gets a lot of units right there. He needs to fight those Zealots head on. Now another disruption actually going to get to 2 tanks.
Looks like
look at the supply.
The map have
20 SCVs down, 20 SCVs down. Go to
the Zealots in a natural. They have been going to town for a long while.
Oh, this is really bad for TY. His economy's been absolutely shafted. He actually has 2-2 against the warboard of TY.
Oh, GG. Oh, my God.
GG. We're going to game number 5. Zest just taking a sip of water. He's like, yep, just another day at the office.
A lot of stuff at the end there went super well. So he ran in those Zealots into the natural, did a lot of damage. He bought enough time. A few disruptor hits were really good. Then it was a big 2-2 connection with just 1-1 bio. TY didn't expect him to be so crazy about taking a fight like that, but it was absolutely the right choice.
Yeah.
5 base robo, guys. If you're ever behind, just go 5 base robo.
Yeah.
Sorry.
5 robo.
5 robo, yes.
Yeah, 5 robo is the way. It's the way. I mean, triple robo was already pretty cool, I guess, in a way, because if your opponent doesn't cross the map, I hate it personally, but it's a really great call because suddenly, boom, 3 Colossi out, and then if you don't have Vikings, it's just a fight you can't take. So it was already a really smart call, but seeing that he was scouted, going for the Disruptor that are going to be online way faster, and then the positioning by Zest, that was actually the name of the game here. Like, being positioned like this with a little bit of units on top, defending the disruptors, and then Zealots and Stalkers threatening the back of the army. Even I think the Raven didn't do anything in this fight. We didn't see a missile, no auto turrets, no matrix. So it's like he wanted to go fast with that attack, and I do understand where he comes from because this is a Robo Bay and 3 Robo about to pop. So it's like, okay, he doesn't have the actual AoE damage right now. So you want to go straight across the map, but he did it so maybe a little bit too fast, like a little bit too rushed in a way.
So he also had those Zealots at the 4th command center when he landed it. And then I just walked into the natural and killed like 20-something SCVs. He never really responded to those. So he really was in a rush right there to end it. But regardless, here we go. The final match of this best-of-5 series. The winner will go up against Zero in the grand finals of HomeStory Cup number 19. We're on Turbo Cruise 84.
Who would you guys prefer to see go up against Cyril?
I mean, if it's TY, then it's a rematch of winners finals. So it's like, I was a little bit disappointed by that series between Cyril and TY. I felt
Really?
like TY just he felt hopeless, right? Like so, I kind of want to see if Zest can do better, but at the same time, more Terran games, and I'm gonna be a happy boy. So
I feel like it's gonna be if it's gonna be a best of 7 between TY and Cero, we're gonna go home at like 4 a.m. But that's okay.
I'm okay with it.
Yeah, I'm no problems.
Anyhow, boys, spawning in the bottom left of the 5th game of this series. This is the lower bracket finals. It is TY.
And in the top right, representing Ocean Gaming, is Zest. People say he's the best. Did you know that?
People do say Zest is best.
They do.
And, you know, for a while, they weren't wrong. He really was the absolute best, man.
Oh yeah.
So
So
who's-
early Legacy of the Void Zest, just nasty, man. He was
Who
so
is
good.
Twitch chat voting for? I mean, we
Ooh.
don't really have proper voting set up right here, but I'm curious, guys. Who are you cheering for, TY or Zest? I mean, we can try and catch maybe a bit of a overwhelming majority.
What about asking the actual people that are behind us in the bar?
Dude, I am seeing way more TY than Zest.
Oh, interesting.
Look at that. All right, well, we don't have
Yeah,
a proper
TY.
poll, but
Yeah, it's from what I can say,
Yeah.
it's TY. Yeah, from what I can
we have the
see.
Funka poll going on, guys. He did the math. 200 IQ, he's interpreting all of it.
Oh yeah, I was
What is the
always a
percentage?
pretty massive math head. Really good at math. I didn't have. Yeah. That's a little bit weird to say, right? I like it.
It's okay, guys.
It was a little bit weird. Perfect.
So we do see that proxy pylon in the top left,
Yeah,
right?
it's gonna be Proxy Stargate. I think he just skipped on Warpgate technology for now.
I'm so surprised that TY is so comfortable without opening a Reaper.
Stargate.
Yeah, it's weird. We haven't seen a Reaper any of the games, right?
None. I mean, oh, okay, it was on Acropolis.
Oh yeah, you're right. Okay.
But
Thank you, thank you,
Ben? Team Muslim? Thank you.
our lovely.
Oh, thank you, Mapu. Yeah,
Mapu.
yeah. You did say one. Okay, I thought you meant him.
not everything's about us, Funka.
Yeah, you're right. You're right. I tend to forget about observers, because I don't know that position that well.
Whoa.
So it's like,
Wait, you observed a lot of games.
did I?
Mm-hmm.
I feel it was in a different life,
Did you steal Mapu's job, or did Mapu steal your job?
Yeah, Castle Life now. No, it's Mapu is just, it's the greatest. No problem.
Shout out to
whatsoever.
Mapu though.
Of course.
He's been killing it this entire event. He's been observing every single game on the main stage. We get to take breaks. Mapu doesn't.
He doesn't want to take it.
He's in there. He's observing every match.
And then he goes and plays ladder between games. Obviously, that's how you keep it going, keep the flow going.
So it is a proxy Stargate and an Oracle is being chrono boosted out. This is completely unscouted so far. Do you think he's got any idea?
I mean, he's got the Marines at the front. There's no bunker yet, correct? Oh, in fact, there might be.
There's one Widow Mine burrowed in the mineral line, though.
Yeah, the Widowmine in the...
Two Widow Mines, actually.
Yeah, that's... that could deal some damage to some Oracles if they are going to fly in. In fact, this is so ballsy, right? Having both of them in the same place.
that's
painful.
Oh my gosh. That is such a bad start for Zest.
And I think Take TV's bar is actually for TY because lots of people actually clapped at that Widow Mine connecting with that Oracle. So
Or maybe Roddy finally took his shirt off and the whole bar's cheering,
Yeah, he's dancing on the bar
Then
right
why are we casting this? That's Roddy. I mean, I've never seen that, and I've been friends with him for a long time. So.
I tell you what, he's got a one Widowmine still. Oh, is it going to get
Oh
the...
my God! Seriously?
No, don't do it.
come
again.
on.
Don't do it
That
again.
was so close.
Wow. So he's actually going to be able to get a little bit of damage done right now, but does that justify enough right here? At the same time, the Widow Mine is burrowing in a mineral line, and that is 8 probes going down. They go back right there into the safety of the medevac. The adepts are like, hey, what happened?
Oh, I mean, those Adepts, even if they were placed, it would be pretty tough to be in every place at once to deal with the Widowmines, but the fact that they're off gallivanting and doing whatever... Wait, what happened to the Oracle? Did it
The
survive?
second one, I think it survived. Yeah.
Okay,
It's even the third one now.
It only got 4 kills.
Yep.
I mean, that's definitely not a good trade for him.
37 probes to 35 SCVs. I feel like almost all the time the early game actually goes in TY's favor. He did throw out that early game lead in the last game by Zest, playing super well and defending that attack quite beautifully. Now that Oracle's actually going to route an energy.
He just lost an Oracle for basically free. That's never a good situation to be in.
Nope.
I was starting to think by the units that TY was making that he's going to actually march across the map, but he started making a third CC. In fact, he might go for that anyway. He does spot the Stargate now.
Yeah, still just continues flying onwards right there with the Liberator. Third command center right now coming up as well for TY. So that is before the third Nexus.
Oh, he's
Such an awkward map to attack on. It's like,
Yeah.
what should I do to get around the zones? It's really quite difficult. And as the defensive player, just sitting across that zone, just waiting on for units to actually try and cross this path. Is
By the way,
really nice.
this game is turning into such a mind-gaming game. He's on 2 Nexus right now. He's getting charge and +1 armor. So this game, he's not making a third base at all.
Shield battery actually pushing the Viking away just by itself. It's like, why bother?
Yeah.
I mean,
He
I
wanted to
can't
do-
kill any probes anyways.
Yeah, he wanted to do the double prong to Ras again.
Yep.
So he tried to do the same thing as we've been seeing him do all these games.
It gets
getting the
away?
Wolverine
Oh.
and the
No.
Viking.
Okay, there we go.
He's seeing it.
I just land it so the Oracle has to use energy instead. Every little
The
helps.
pity land right there.
Oh,
The walk of shame.
And then get some damage done. Okay, that medevac has been filled with Marines to take care of that proxy Stargates, which will not be able to be used later in the game, which is kind of nice. So you keep the Phoenix count to 3, only 1 Oracle remaining, and Zest is actually going to try and push out.
Zest is really far
late-
behind this game.
Really late third Nexus.
He's
Not
really
that good
far
of an
behind.
economy.
Yeah, he's really far behind. So he has to make something happen now. I don't know if TY is fully aware of that fact. TY just sitting back on his 2 bases, not taking his third. He's not being too crazy. So I think he's clued onto that.
Yeah, whenever you see a third Nexus starting after the third orbital is already done, not a good situation here for Protoss. He's going to try and make something happen right here with these Phoenixes that he's got left over. Obviously, they're going to be great defensively. You can maybe get something done offensively as well. But for the most part right now, it feels like Zest is... He's going to have a couple Stalkers maybe to do some damage with, but he's going to have to mostly just sit back, right?
And look at the natural of TY. He's like,
he's
really turtling up, like bunker up, perfect wall off, tanks on the higher ground. Like most of it is really well thought out by TY.
He's not
What's
falling
the
for any of this so far. I mean,
Nope.
Zest wants to pounce out, but... okay, a few units do go forward. I think he spotted that. Tanks are still on the high ground. Yeah, he lifts up straight away. Behind all this, too, if he just keeps on eking out more of a bio lead, he will be in damn good shape.
Yeah, once again, I think Zest in this game is going to have to pull out a miracle in terms of like perfect engagement.
Oh!
That
Dude.
might be the start of the miracle, Funker.
Yeah, killing
Every-
the Raven is huge.
Every time I see a Raven dying to Phoenixes in the early game in TVP, it's just my heart just, like hurts. It hurts.
Double Robo begins as well for Zest, so
So freaking expensive, man.
very expensive. +2 armor on the way as well. I think he's just warping in high 10 plus for Archons, and yes, and no committal to Storm at this point. He just really wants to use all the gas that he's mining on Colossi. And I think it's a really good move because we see here on the production tab as well, Ghosts are the weapon of choice for TY. He has no idea about the Robos.
I like the fact that this time around we see the robotics bay coming up a little bit sooner. It is scouted out right now though by TY, so he knows exactly what he's going up against.
So does he go for double starport right away? Like you swap out maybe that factory that's building mine and you go for a double starport? Yeah, he leaves the reactor open. I think he's going to go for a second starport, which is the correct answer, obviously. But,
I'm still always so scared for TY when he just chooses to slow down the game so much though. Like,
Yeah.
I really feel this is just letting the Protoss get into it, which for a while there, Zest was just kind of struggling economically. He was behind in workers for a while. Now you look at the game, it's like, mate, this is really close, and the Protoss is going to be finishing +2 armor pretty soon. Double Forge.
It's going to be a tough game, but once again, like TY is supposed to be really good in the late game, whatever the matchup, but especially in TVP back then, he was really great at it. And he was like comfortable by choosing to go for it, which is like totally different than being forced into late game. Like he accepts it, right? Like he feels comfortable with it. But he goes for
Yeah.
double factory? Is he going to play like triple factory tank?
Oh, I
I
mean,
love it.
do you think yeah, I mean, it's
Well-
probably going to be tanks.
Do you like it against Disruptor play though? Because
Yeah.
it's not Colossi.
Yeah, it's really good against Disruptor.
It's good against Colossi and Disrupt. Like anything that comes out of the Robo, it's great. Whoa! He's coming in from multiple angles here. I mean, there is a Disruptor to buy him sometimes, so it doesn't take many losses.
So am I correct that the disruption shot actually gets slowed down as well as the units? Looked like it, yes.
Yeah, I was wondering the same thing.
I think it does, boys. Let's have a look.
What the
Yeah, it
hell?
does. A magic spell still gets slowed down.
Well, Adepts get slowed down too, yeah?
Yeah.
The shades?
Yeah.
Yeah, it might be.
Yeah, so, I mean, it only makes sense that the projectile does too.
I vetoed the map pretty early.
What about
so
like if you storm in the bubble? Does it deal less damage a second?
I doubt
Or
it.
maybe it lasts for longer while dealing.
Whoa!
Next level, man.
Game change.
Next
No,
level.
that's not the case, by the way. But
Yeah, please, please, please don't do it, man. Storms are already way too powerful. Please leave me alone. So triple factory tank, and I love it because I think it's going to be super useful on this map. I mean, look at the positioning of those tanks. Like he doesn't have the vision. The disruptor was kind of lucky there. Get out!
a couple of the Marines do get blown up. He's trying to secure the 4th base. Not going to happen. At the same time, you see a big group of Zealots right here on the left-hand side. One of them marching forward, sacrificing his life for ire, picking up that one Widow Mine, but this is giving enough time for TY to respond as well. At the same time, we do see the Disruptors trying to launch towards that ramp as the 4th base is once again forced to get lifted up.
Ghost tank.
Ooh, that's a big pickup.
Oh yeah. Yeah, he needs to kite a little bit so he doesn't lose that much because, you know, Zealot's pretty good with 3 medivacs on top. It was still a pretty rough fight for TY. He does have to micro a little bit against those Zealots so he doesn't lose that many units. But the question is, like, when does he push? When does TY push with those tanks?
Do you think he plans on doing
here.
it? I mean, I thought he was going to do it quite a while ago, but he's making so many extra CCs right now. He's going for, like, ghost tank play at this point. Like, I'm kind of wondering what's his plan. Is it just to, like, nice pickup. I think he's hoping that Zest overcommits at some point, and then he can roll a counter-attack going, but Zest is actually playing really calm behind this. He's getting Stargate play.
Yeah, that's what we saw King's Cove as well, right? Just try and defend and hope Protoss makes a mistake. What happens if Protoss doesn't make a mistake?
Then you're in a world of shit, Loco. Like, absolutely.
But that's what ended up happening right there on King's Cove, so I'm hoping he's not going to do that same approach once again.
Because this is so much tech that Zest is getting. Getting the +1 weapons as well for air units. He's going to be on triple starport behind all this. And the thing is, Ghost Tank might be great, but it's not good against Tempest.
Yep, and he has to push before. I feel like if he doesn't mess up the positioning of his tanks and he does cross the map, he's going to be way, way, way better than Zest in a frontal fight, obviously, with that many tanks. I think he has like maybe 14.
I tell you what, though,
15?
that was a lot of Zealots
14?
that just died.
Yep.
Yeah.
And we've got pretty damn, like, those splits
Nice.
from TY. And he's kind of moving in a little bit here. And the thing is, Zest didn't go for the triangular 3rd base either. He went across the top of the map, so this is all exposed. If TY gets between these bases, he can really start playing with the rallying lines.
Okay, those Zealots, they can save the day, but that's that's probably the end of the game if he doesn't hold on right now. He needs to EMP those Zealots. Phoenix is actually lifting off the tanks, and now going from the side, he needs to pick up in the medivacs and now boost it off because those Stalkers are going to be pouncing on those medivacs soon.
Beautiful engagement right there by Zest. He does force the pickup. The question is, though, is he going to overextend?
The thing is, though, like,
Yeah.
he wasted a lot of gateway units on the left side, and yeah, he's transitioning into Tempest, but his bank is so low. Zest has been at 69 probes for way too long this game. I'm actually really worried for him now.
Where the Tempest?
They're not out yet. Like those
Okay.
are the first 3. So, okay, he switches to Thors. I think he scouted it or maybe just anticipates it in a general way. So those Thors are
Wait.
actually going to do wonders against those Tempests.
But guys, why isn't TY just going? He is wasting so much time here. Like, he's been on 180, 190 supply for a long time. I know he's trying to get a good position and such, but the time is now. Like, every second is a good second for Zest.
There we go.
Okay.
The Tempests are available. They're going to hunt down these siege tanks. The more time they get, the more kills they will pick up as well. And if someone's good at microing these Tempests, it's going to be Zest. A nuke comes up instead to try and force these units out of position.
Okay. Splitting a little bit of units on the left side. That nuke is actually going to land.
Whoa, 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 whoa. He did not target fire down the Ghost, but he
saw
does
it.
move.
He saw it. He saw it. He does have observers in position, and now Zest is going to go for it. I don't know that there's that many tanks that are actually going to be able to push down those Stalkers and Archons, but they messed up a little bit with the AI right now. And those tanks, they get some juicy shots, but the Tempest and Colossi remains.
Yeah, and soon we're going to have 6 of these Tempests up in the air as well, and that is going to be extremely painful. I think you're right, Ben. I think he kind of missed his timing window, right? He's forced to now go back home.
He doesn't know about the base right there.
No, he has no idea, and he's been thinking it's the other base the whole time, and it just isn't the case. He wasted so much time moving back, giving Zest all the time in the world. Now his life's actually going to get a bit rough, because once Protoss get to that late game situation, they're in good shape.
Okay, so one thing we have to mention is that soon we'll have 3-3-3 for Terran. I mean, +3 attack, +3 armor, and +3 attack for mech units. So those tanks are going to deal a lot of damage. Same goes for Thors. I think they're going to do pretty pretty decent against Stalkers and stuff like that. They're gonna blow him up really, really fast. But the thing that lacks in this game, because he wants to go for those frontal pushes, is the harass. Like, I can't believe that throughout this entire sequence, there was not a single unit that went to harass like this. Get a couple of probes. That fourth base that's on the top left shouldn't be able to mine like this when you're like using all of your units to just push out those tanks.
Do you think he should continue making Tempest here? Because I thought he was going to go up to 6, but I believe he only made 3.
I think it's nice. Like, it's they're just to force a fight, and against the Tempest possibilities, and the Tempest never came. Oh. Is this going to happen, though? Is this, or did he get rid of the ghost?
Hey, he did get rid of the ghost. That was a cadaver.
Poor guy.
Yeah, poor guy. Okay, +3/+3 finished for infantry. It's going to go for maybe just kill the Templars. Just right-click him.
That'd be a smart move.
Right-click him.
The thing is, he doesn't know he just walked over an observer, and I'm not sure Zest does either.
Okay. But I do think it's a good positioning for TY this time, because the tanks are really, really far away, and that nuke is actually gonna, maybe freak out Zest a little bit. He gets that Nexus for free, which is kind of nice. That didn't happen for a while now.
Alrighty, now he's starting to chrono boost these immortals, but yeah, the pylons get shut down, and with that,
or
rather,
second nuke from the high ground. I love it.
Yeah, you don't expect the nuke to be inside of the main base, right? It's not really this. Oh, this could be a disaster.
I think he saw it.
Where's his obs, though? Where's his obs?
Oh my god.
Oh.
That's
All of the programmers have been doing that lately. Like, they wait until the final second, and
because they know it's important for us to get excited.
Yes,
it's good for the audience. So they just like, it's
at some
be
point
close.
though, one is gonna like lose their entire army to one nuke.
I tell you, I mean, they're athletes, but they're entertainers at heart, boys.
Exactly.
Oh, mate, look how many Thors and tanks are moving out. Like, this is actually a really stocky, weird mix of, like, biomech here.
Okay, TY has to win this game. I mean, like, he's been controlling the tempo of the game. He did lose a little bit of time, but he's now, like, pushing away so many units that those 2 storms. Oh, my God, this is so juicy for Zest.
And he's actually already got way more army supply than his opponent, just because he has less workers. Right now he lost an additional 9. He decides to add on additional Immortals, but also additional Tempest.
Oh. Look at that Stalker getting demolished by that +3 Thor.
Oh, there's a big juicy fight coming in. Zest moving in from the top side. Lots of disruptor shots, but the SCVs, they're here to repair. The tanks going ham on the Stalkers as well. But now the Thors can shoot those juicy Tempests. They're going down like flies.
Yeah, the Stalkers on the right-hand side as well, though, trying to get a bit of an engagement off. The Tempest trying to shut down as many of these Medevacs as they can while the Thors are loaded up. Is it enough?
Yeah, that's an amazing... nonetheless, it's an amazing fight for TY. GG. He will go to the finals and meet against Cero once again. What a great performance and what a great unit composition by TY. Like, he trusted his gut and went for a really decent fight at the end. And that +3 Thors, those +3 Thors, they actually demolished everything. Massive props to TY, defeating Zest 3-2.
I think you're right. The audience did also
cheer a little bit for TY, right?
I'll make some space on the couch for you guys.
Oh, okay. Ben just completely leaves us.
He left us. He doesn't want to ask TY question? Like, what the hell?
Hey, first off, congratulations, TY.
GG, man.
Did that series go like you had anticipated?
축하드립니다. 결승 진출. 예상했던 대로 게임이 흘러갔나요?
No, it was very hard because I didn't know his strategy, so very hard game, yeah.